Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable. Apologies for the slight delay there. I had to diddle about with my lighting, my usual ring light. I think it's kaput now. Even when I plug it in and wiggle the toggle, you know, it goes like, So I've got my backup ring light. So the light is from a slightly different angle, and I needed to make sure that everything was okay. Can you hear me okay? I want to check that you guys can hear me okay. So just give me a little kind of thumbs up. Someone here is saying spring has sprung. Yes, I shared some pictures today on my Instagram of the beautiful pictures of spring. Let me see if I can find something for you. And although spring is springing and has sprung for us here in the northern hemisphere, my goodness, there is a lot to discuss today, isn't there? There is a tremendous amount to discuss. Of course, this is, as I say, it is kind of like a special on Social Security. So we are going to be focusing on that. I also want everyone to know as well, if you don't know already, because someone asked in the questions, someone asked, Tone said, Hogarth, please do a Social Security payments. Oh, someone said Social Security payments are earned benefits, not entitlements. Entitlements is a GOP term used to justify taking earned benefits away from us. So yeah, I think maybe I must have used that term anyway, but that's one I've heard about a lot. However, I did a deep dive onto Social Security. I did the chart of Social Security, everything with Roosevelt and stuff like that. And specifically there, I say it is an earned benefit because, of course, it is taken out of your wages so that you can get it in your older years, shall we say, 65 and over. And if anyone hasn't seen that, it is linked in the video description of this video, my deep dive into the future of Social Security astrologically. It's coming true already. And if you've not had a chance to check that out, please do. That's on Hogarth's Financial Astrology. And the reason why I set up this channel, obviously because I'm an astrologer, and of course I'm looking into the future, looking at the trends. And I felt it was important to have a channel specifically focused on financial questions, global finance, because I knew stuff like this was going to happen. And on that channel, then I can go much more into depth, etc. and stuff like that, because this is becoming more and more important. And as I've said on that channel as well, global finance is changing. It's not just America, it's all over the world. And I've got some clips to show you. So there was that. What else? Yes. So today we're going to look at Social Security. I was actually going to show you some pictures of spring, wasn't I? So look, here we are on my phone. This is a picture of the canal that I walk on to get to Victoria Park. Can you see there? The magnolias are there in full bloom. Give you guys a bit of a lift. Yeah, especially in like, this is my favorite magnolia tree in Victoria Park, which I often refer to as the tree of spring, because when that tree blossoms, then for me, spring has truly arrived. And here, just sharing a little picture here. This is me earlier on oops. What's going on? Oh God, I didn't mean to zoom in like that. Why has it done that? This is me on this is the canal that I walk along to get to Victoria Park, where I take my walks to try and unwind, you know, from the world and the cray. And today I gave in and I had one of these delicious pastries from my local pastry place. I wasn't expecting to share pastry shots with you, but let me just put my phone on airplane mode. Right. So much to discuss. I am going to have to go at breakneck speed, so forgive me if I'm a little bit fast. You can always watch me, of course, on the replay. I think my sound is okay. How am I doing on sound? Yep. Big Dog Mom is saying sound is good. Your questions are in. It was actually 5 pages, but I reduced the print side so I could get onto 3. And what I'm going to do is, before we go into your questions, let's discuss Social Security, and let's also discuss some of the things that have transpired even since last week. Now, here I've got some notes, and there's some things that I want to share with you as well, because it's not just Social Security, student debt repayments as well. We need to talk about that too. Oh my God. The amount of undiluted douchebaggery that is happening in the world right now is just, it's just astonishing. Right, my apple juice. A bit of diluted apple juice, to be honest, it's high on the sugar. Right, okay. What's this? Oh, and if you see an ad, by the way, on this, just count to 11. Yeah, like I said, count to 11 and then skip it. Yeah, because that helps support the channel, because my God, it's all choppy chop everywhere, isn't it? So there may be, if there is one ad, just count to 11 and skip. But I tend to do that post-production anyway, because of course, it's a tough world out there, isn't it? And we've all got bills to pay. All right, here we go. So I've mentioned the deep dive Social Security video that I did, like I said, linked in the video description already here, but please check out as well Hogarth's Financial Astrology. If you've not subscribed yet, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to that channel, help it to grow, help it reach a wider audience, because there, like I said, this is where I go into the nitty-gritty of everything that is going on, all of the changes, and that's where you get that big deep dive as well on Social Security. I did it, I think, was it last week? I can't even remember now myself. Well, maybe it was Monday. I think it was Monday, actually. So please check that out and like and subscribe that channel as well. It will really help. Okay, so what I've got here, right. This is what I want to say afterwards about how people can potentially counter what's going on. But first of all, let me share my screen with you just to give you the skinny on certain things that are happening. Let me make sure I've actually got, oh, Jesus, did I actually put up? Where's that Social Security? What was I think? Oh no, actually no, because sorry, the deep dive is up there. I'm going to show you something to do with students. Sorry. All right. So as we know, and I cover this in the deep dive video that I've done, so go for that for more detail. On the campaign trail, we know Duck L'Orange says he wasn't going to touch Social Security. Yeah, remember that? Yeah, on the campaign trail. But as we know, like with almost all malignant narcissists, particularly Duck L'Orange, they are prone to what? Lying. Yeah, lying. So we have seen the proposed cuts for Medicaid. Yeah, I think everyone knows this now, but just for those that do not, and maybe they're not based in America, Medicaid is essentially it's a social benefit to help people with their medical expenses, often the poorest Americans, and particularly Americans that suffer from disabilities. What gradient of disabilities it goes to, I don't know, but I know that is what essentially Medicaid is for. It is to support those who are least able in terms of supporting their medical costs, etc., all of this stuff. So it's called Medicaid. Now, we know what has been proposed and what cleared the House. And from what I understand, I don't even want to say it, but we know Chuck Schumer and I think it was 10 Senate Democrats also went along with this bill. So it's part of this wider continuing resolution, isn't it? Isn't it what they call it? CR. Forgive me if I'm wrong in that. Feel free to correct me. I don't mind a correction as long as it's accurate and fair. And essentially, from what I understand, this is going to go through. Now, this was an opportunity for the Democrats, of course, to resist, etc. I've got what did I find? Oh, I was looking at so many things, and then I closed down so many of my of the things that I wanted to share accidentally. But they've been talking to Democrat voters, and they are very, very unhappy with what has happened. So what is proposed is that $880 billion will be cut from Medicaid. Yeah, that's like the equivalent of Sir Keir Starmer, our Prime Minister in the UK, saying, right, everyone, the NHS is cancelled. Yeah. Now, of course, we have free healthcare at the point of need. You can go private as well, and it's paid for general taxation. The NHS, one of the greatest civic duties ever done on planet Earth. Yeah. And of course, Medicaid is there to support the most vulnerable. And from what I understand, I don't think it has been signed yet into law. Am I correct on that? But I think it had to clear the Senate. And I think those 10 votes, I think those 10 Dem votes got it through. Let me know if I'm wrong. There is so much news to follow. It is just it's almost impossible to stay on top of everything. But that's as I understand it. But Medicaid is definitely getting the chop. So is SNAP. Yeah, SNAP, for those that may not be aware or based in America, SNAP is benefits. Yeah, and what's it? Here we are. Mona's saying, wondering if everyone is as disgusted as I am with Duck L'Orange and Shady and all the lies. Yeah, it's just astonishing. SNAP, again, is for the poorest Americans who do not have enough financial income to basically buy food. So their food is supplemented with food stamps. So they get food stamps, which they can then exchange for food. People say it's partially a supplementary. It works with certain elements of the farming industry, etc. But anyway, it is a big thing, particularly in red states. Medicaid and SNAP are used in well, they're used all over, but red states need them more. Yeah, they use more of these services. That is being cut as well. So what are people going to eat? Now they are talking about Social Security. Now, the spin thus far, for Social Security is that, oh, we're not going to do this or that or what have you. But what people are saying now is that they are intending to privatize it and or even cut it. And what they are doing is they're now saying, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are now saying when you're calling up about your Social Security, yeah, you can no longer do that dialogue over the phone. They want you to visit a Social Security office in person. Now imagine if you're in a massive state like Texas, and let's say, for example, the Social Security is based in Galveston, yeah, and you are, I don't know, way up somewhere in the north of Texas or whatever, depending where they've got these things spread out, and you're expected to drive somehow or get someone to drive you there to deal with issues, any issues with your claim. What if you have a wheelchair or an electric wheelchair? What are you supposed to do? Go in your electric wheelchair and drive yourself down to Social Security to sort out your earned benefits. Do you see what they're doing? They're making it more difficult. I've got to try and find the article, so forgive me. I had it lined up, so I'm just having a rummage on Google right now. In fact, what I'll do is so you can see what I'm doing in real time. Let's share screen. Let's Google this together and have a little look. Let's put here new tab, share, so we can do this in real time. Okay, so you should see me on Google. So let me put here plans to cut Social Security office offices, and I'm going to put here USA. because of course, otherwise it will come up with a British search as well. Let's have a look. Yeah, here we are. So look, we can see here already, just by doing that, look, a list of Social Security offices expected to close in 2025. So top stories: threats to Social Security Administration and to benefits continue to raise alarm. So this is 2 hours ago. 1 day ago, a list of Social Security offices across the US expected to close this year. Trump administration Social Security changes could limit access to benefits for millions. Like you can see here, this is PBS. Trump administration and Elon Musk's Doge closing Social Security. This is a week ago. So this is a story that has developed over time. So let's look at, what's this? Medical care, Medicare Rights Center. So let's see what they have to say about this. All right. Threats to the Social Security Administration to benefits continue to raise alarm. All right, let's see what's going on. Despite the Trump administration's promises that American Social Security benefits will not be cut, we discussed last week the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, recently set its sights on the program. So you can see this isn't hyperbole. I'm not trying to scaremonger or anything, which is nothing that I would ever want to do. But I want to report stuff that is accurate and is also in alignment with the predictions that I've been making. Because as you know, I've been talking about stuff like this for a long time. And I also said, what? This alignment, I said it's going to affect the security of Americans, yeah? On March 29th, it's happening in the fourth house. The fourth house literally deals with security, homeland, money, finances, the roof over our head. Yeah, we've seen the portents in terms of the fires in Los Angeles, etc. But this is also doing with family. This also talks about deportations, all of this kind of stuff. Yeah. But of course, as you know, I was making these predictions last year. And then as the time gets closer, you see more flesh comes on the bone and more detail emerges. Anyway, I'll continue. So reports indicate that efforts are ongoing, with staffers obtaining access to the Master Social Security Number databases, which includes extensive and highly sensitive information. Yeah. So this is talking about Doge. Yeah. Recently set sites on the programs. Reports indicates their efforts are ongoing, with staffers obtaining, so that's big balls and those lunatics, that hackers that he's got working for him, obtaining access to the Master Social Security database, which includes extensive and highly sensitive information. Doge is not revealing what they plan to do with the data or how they will keep it safe. Just as this article was being finalized, the federal judge temporarily blocked the expanded access to personally identifiable information, citing privacy concerns. However, the issue is not yet settled and Social Security data remains at risk. So here we are. Doge is not revealing to plan what they do with the data or how they keep it safe. This is outrageous. This is criminal behavior. I'm sure many of you will be able to quote whatever the clause is in the Constitution, where I think it's in the Constitution, or at least in federal law, where this kind of data is supposed to be protected. Yeah, protected. Let's see what else they're saying here. Let's just see here. So this is AP News. Oh, I have to accept all. I don't know if they're right, left, or you can see I've just Googled. So I'm sorry if they're some kind of right-leaning left. I don't know what their political affiliation is, but you can see I just Googled. The story is the most important, of course. So here, AP News is saying a list of the Social Security offices across the US expected to close this year. So you see, they are coming for this stuff. The bastards. They're so wicked. Oh yeah, this is someone else they're expunging. A new release, JFK, and that's to reveal more about CIA. So, okay, well, let me just close that down for now. Otherwise, I'm getting distracted. So here, you can see here, this person saying, hands off Social Security. I hope you can see the pictures all fine and everything like that. So this is written by Meg Kinnard. So let's see here. Washington AP, dozens of Social Security Administration offices across the country are slated to close this year due to actions taken by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. So you see, They've lied. Yeah. The lies aren't shocking, but this is awful. As part of Trump's administration's unprecedented effort to shrink the size of the government. Now, these are earned. You guys have paid into this. They have no right to cut this. Doge has published a list of nearly 800 federal real estate leases that it is seeking to cancel. Oh my God. The Associated Press has obtained an internal planning document from the General Services Administration. Weren't they the one? They were banned, weren't they, from attending meetings at the White House, weren't they? Because they obviously reporting some truth, which manages federal real estate, which shows when nearly 2/3 of those cancellations are expected to go into effect. My goodness, the offices are closing despite the requirement that tighter identity proofing measures be put in place to prevent fraud and abuse. These steps will require millions of recipients and applicants to visit agency field offices, like I was saying, yeah, to visit agency field offices rather than interact with agency employees over the phone. I mean, let me just stop the share there. So did that show up okay? I hope that showed okay. So there, yeah, and obviously there were many more examples that I could look at. My God. Like I said, this alignment, yeah, coming on the 29th of March, it's almost here. As I'm doing this, it is now the 20th of March, 2025. Yeah. So this is Saturday, yeah? Saturday, March 29th, when Saturn will move into sidereal Pisces, which will create, if you include Chiron, an 8-planet stellium. And you can see why I'm saying that this is bigger even than COVID. Yeah, I was looking back and double checking myself. I think there was about 6 planets with the COVID one. Yeah, this is 8 if you include Chiron. Even if you don't include Chiron, it is still 7. The last time I've been looking on the internet to find the last time that you had Saturn, Rahu, Neptune, Mercury retrograde, Venus retrograde, Sun and Moon, so this is all an eclipse, and Chiron, all together in sidereal Pisces. I can confidently say it will be multiple of hundreds of years, because the last time that Neptune, which is an important part of this conjunction, was in sidereal Pisces, was about 165 years ago. Yeah, that's how long it takes him to go around the sun. I mean, we have to knock off a couple of years because he moved in 2023, February 2023. It's now, March 20th, 2025. So he's had a couple of years in there. But the last time he ingressed into sidereal Pisces, that was 2023. That was 2023, 22nd of February, I think, something like that. And he spends 14 years in the sign. Yes, that means we've got 12 years to go. So the last time that happened was ages ago. So there is an element of a spiritual awakening that's going to happen for all of Earth, because the last time he was in sidereal Pisces, yeah, we had things, the spiritualist movement, the Fox sisters, Madame Blavatsky, etc. So there is a bit of an upside, but Saturn is the planet of reality. I call him balloon popper. It means everything is going to change. Saturn is rules, regulations. He's the government. Could it be that a lot of the rules, guardrails, are just thrown out the window, dissolved? Pisces is a sign of things dissolving. So do you see things, guardrails, maybe even possibly around the world, but definitely in America, are being dissolved? But it's also a reality check as well, because Saturn is the planet of reality. Do you see? This is epic. Absolutely epic. I want to share one more thing, and then I'll spend the second half of the show answering as many of your questions as I can. But I just had to get this stuff out here so we can see how profound all of this stuff is. I want to share something as well about the students. So, someone says here, Maureen says, I'm on SSIDI. So far, I've received my payments for January, Feb, and this month, but I'm worried. Yeah, it's, oh my God. Yeah, Grace is saying, I'm scared to look at the video. Look, I can understand that. However, it is better to be informed. One of the things that's going to happen, and one of the things that I'm going to say here, and I'm not going to name names specifically and stuff like that, but listen, yeah, Saturn is the planet of reality. Pisces can also be a sign of illusions and delusions and fantasies, yeah? Things are getting real. It also deals with the spiritual realms and stuff like that. And what I would say is we have to be very careful with sugarcoating things, yeah? Because in the end, it doesn't help. It's better to know, yeah? Because if people are always being told that absolutely everything's all right and, you know, nothing to worry about, how do you prepare for when the storm comes? Yeah. Now, of course, I want the best outcome for everyone. You know, but, I cannot ignore an 8-planet stellium in sidereal Pisces. And I know what that means. And I'm here on Earth to do this astrology, to share this ancient knowledge with everyone. And of course, other people are as well, but that's why I'm here. And it's like they say, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Yeah, because then you can maneuver, you can adjust. Yeah, you can make savings, you can do something about it. But it's not just the seniors that they're coming after. Let me just quickly share this last thing with you, and then we'll start talking about potential solutions. Oh my God, wait, I've got to show you this first. Sorry, I forgot about this. Do you remember I was talking about digital stuff? How I said all the money's going to go digital? Right. This here are plans for the digital euro. Yeah, it's coming. In fact, let me do stop share because I need to make sure that I've got the sound on. Because let me just do share screen. Yes. Okay. The sound tab is on. This is only a minute or so. Watch this. So you remember I said when Uranus goes into sidereal Taurus, the global money is going to change. We had a taste of it in the summer. Yeah. And then he retrograded during the November elections and stuff, retrograded back over the star Algol. Do you remember I said the star of betrayal? Uranus is upset, shocks and surprises. Look what happened in the election. Then he went into Aries, and now he's gone back into sidereal Taurus, which deals with money and asset classes of all kinds. Uranus is the planet of AI, digitalization, cryptocurrency and stuff like that. And this is why I said when he makes his full transit through sidereal Taurus, which he'll be doing for the next 7 years, I said global money will change. Digital money will come. Here it is. Yeah. Look, so as you can see here, this is the European Central Bank, their official website. We are working with national central banks of the euro area to look into possible issuance of a digital euro. They say possible, it will be coming. A digital euro would be a digital form of cash issued by the central bank and available to everyone in the euro area. Yeah. So here, I'm just going to play you the video. Yeah. So you can see for yourself. It's only a 1 minute.
Imagine a digital single payment solution that could be used for any kind of payment throughout the euro area. Guess what? It could become a reality. A digital euro. Easy, safe, fast, reliable. Digital money from the European Central Bank at your fingertips whenever you need it. But how would it work? Say you've gone for a meal with a friend and you want to split the bill. Simple. Open the digital euro wallet on your smartphone, check your balance, enter the amount to pay your friend, confirm your transfer. Your friend will receive the money instantly, free of charge. It doesn't matter which country you're in or who your payment provider is. Payments are still made instantly, even offline. It's also easy to use the digital euro at your favorite local shops. Unlock your device, place it on the terminal, authenticate, make the payment online or offline. If you want, you can also use a physical card. What about e-commerce? The digital euro is also available when you're buying something online. Be it digital or physical, a euro will always be a euro and have the same value irrespective of format. Let's embrace the digital era with the digital euro.
There you are. European Central Bank Euro system. Yeah. So let's see here. So hopefully, did you hear that? Did the sound play? Yeah, I hope the sound played. But you can see I'm not making this stuff up. It's real. Yeah. And I know you guys know that. Look, I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir here. But I warned about this stuff. I was telling people stuff about this years ago. That's why I set up Hogarth's Financial Astrology, to talk about this stuff, to talk about the financial changes coming. Do you see? So in America, they're coming after Social Security. In Europe, they're employing the digital euro. Yeah. So you can see so many changes. Someone's saying, Lilith is saying those pastries look good. Yes, they were delicious. I can only have half of it though, because they are quite sweet. Yeah. Someone here, Jean, said subscribe. It's free. Yes. We also say Cosmic Cat Lady saying hello, Sharon Saipe. Thanks so much as well for being one of my moderators. Much appreciated. I think it was someone's birthday. Happy birthday at Jamie Rodriguez. Ah, and that's Rosalind that said that. Happy birthday. Yeah. Jamie. Let's see here. So what does someone say? Social Security, Virgo, Animal Whisperer said, Social Security comes from a different system. It will be fine. I'm getting my deposits and April is set to go as well. Will be fine if you are currently getting it. Yes, it may be a different system, but obviously maybe you wrote that before I shared the articles that I shared. They are closing down 800 offices. Yeah. So if there's a problem, and now they're saying you can't resolve issues over the phone, so you'd have to go in person. Imagine if states in America are huge. Imagine if you live in Texas, or even if you live in a blue state, they may ask you to traipse all the way. Closing 800 offices. That's what they said. So even though they're going to say we're not canceling it, we're not touching it, what they're really saying is we're going to make it a lot more difficult for you to claim. And if there's an issue, oopsie, you need to come physically in, jump in your wheelchair, or, hobble along with your stick. Let's join the dots on that. So obviously, I hope anyone who is in receipt of Social Security is not cut, but it's not looking good, is it? It's not looking good. Let's see here. Someone's saying, Rosalind saying, only Congress can get rid of the Department of Education. Indeed, but they're certainly going to be, they're certainly going to try, isn't it? Let's see here. Bunny Young says, oh, there you are. So happy to see you. Thank you. I know it's not the most happy clappy message, but I have to share what is actually, happening in the world. This is why I'm sharing these articles, so you can see for yourself. I said digital currencies are coming. You can see European Union is going to do the digital euro. There will be a digital dollar as well. Why else do you think Duck L'Orange and the like of setting up the digital crypto reserve? What do you think that's about? BlackRock, all of it is all coming. Yeah, what's this? Oh, Fallon says Anonymous just posted a video that they took down Twitter, Snapchat, and have information election was stolen. Aha! Well, the likes of Anonymous hopefully will be continuing to, divulge and mess up these bloody networks that are designed to disenfranchise everyone. Yeah, my gosh. Yeah, Kaylee's saying, I'm so angry with Schumer, I feel betrayed. Yeah, many people do. I mean, look, I know it's hard for some Democrats to digest, you know, what has happened. And we were talking about, of course, in Hergelish. And as you know, Lena and I were saying, well, look, you know, that's why I call them Vaseline politicians, you know, for a reason. And of course, you know, Lady G and Sheila were like, well, maybe there was a methodology behind it, you know, would it be wise to have the government shut down, etc., and stuff like that. But Schumer's going on a book tour. Yeah, he's going on a book tour. And these are not ordinary times. It's like some Democrat voters said, it's like the Democrats are bringing pillows to a knife fight. Yeah, bringing pillows to a knife fight. In fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually see if I can share some reaction. Let me just go here. Let me go to my history. I just want to share. Where is it? Where did I? I think this is. 1 minute, 1 minute. Where is the bit? Here we are. Is this it? Let me just get this bit. Right, let me get the bit for you where they talk to. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I should show you what I'm doing. All right, let's pause that there. Let's go back in. God, it's a very sharey night tonight. Wow, there's 900 and plus of you. Let's do this presentation so you guys can see how Democrats are reacting to leadership, democratic leadership. Now, we know AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Tim Walz, Buttigieg, not Buttigieg, you know, we know there's a few of them are trying, but this is how voters, your fellow Americans, if you're American watching this, feel about Democrats. Yeah. And I think this is important to share. All right. So I'm just going to press play.
We're in New York. Chuck Schumer, of course, has been a senator here for a while.
Yeah.
In that room, when he was brought up, people booed.
Booed him, yeah.
It's not normal for Chuck Schumer in New York.
Not at all. I don't think what he did was likable, clearly. Was it the best move? I understand it, but we're bringing pillows to a knife fight, and nothing is helping.
So you see people on the street, and people on the street are mad. People on the street are passionate, and we're not seeing that from leadership at points. So there are leaders out there that are fighting that fight, and there are leaders out there that are that same old model of let's comply and complain.
Comply and complain, I think, is one of those lasting statements that for me, I'm going to keep track of.
Right. Yeah. So did you guys hear that? Yeah. They talked about, those were Democrat voters saying that Democrats are bringing pillows to a knife fight. And then the other guy was saying, is this all about just going to be comply and complain? Did you hear that? And what are your thoughts on that, folks? Let me know in the comments. Let's see here. So someone's saying, Astro Chick is saying, if they even think they're coming for our SS, they better run and hide. Yeah. Someone here is saying, I live in Texas. So you can imagine Texas is a huge state. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us here. And let's just see here. And they're wanting to close offices for SSI, Sheila, the treasure finder. Remember as well, they've also been going after veteran benefit. You can see what's going on. Let's see what someone's saying here. Absolutely, at Raymond Di Pasquale, this is the outcome of the fascist regime. Yeah. Raymond Di Pasquale, sounds familiar. Let's just see here, not to mention that. Yeah, and then Ashley is saying, no, not to mention that the cut in federal workers, which makes everything take longer on top of inaccessibility. So you can see they're trying to, you know, they're just wanting to mess it up. Yeah. And then someone's saying here, I don't want to be schlepping suitcases with my messed up back from the first time I was homeless. Wow. Wow. I'm so sorry to hear about that. And someone's saying, it's Cheryl saying, it's horrible. I'm in shock. I am not in my stomach. Yeah, it's just, yeah. What's this? What's this here? Raymond says, you can see they're cunning the masses and making hoop jumping more difficult, so you go away. Yeah, indeed. Let's just see here. Katie saying, Rachel Maddow said it would take 75,000 to 80,000 SSS recipients more to go to the offices each week. Wow. I mean, it's just astonishing, isn't it? It's just astonishing. And then Cindy says they cannot travel to an office each week. Many of them are not well and cannot wait. Yeah, in office hours, which is why they're doing it. Gosh. And then Laura says you could expect a 3-day wait in the line at the office. Thank you guys for giving your comments. Let's see here. Maureen says it took my mom 5 hours to talk to someone at the VA on my aunt's behalf. So it's not just the Social Security office. Indeed, one thing I need to share, and then I will get into some questions, but there is just so much happening because we've not talked yet as well about the students. So if we look here, so I just wanted to share this with you. This is from Fortune. Again, I don't know if they're right, left, leaning, whatnot, but I thought this was an important article to share with you so you can see it's not just people on Social Security and disability that they're targeting. Look at this. So this is from, oh God, you always get these big adverts for pills and everything on everything American. Sorry, a little dig, but it's true. Do you have angina? Have you taken this pill? That anyway, never mind. I just noticed that there's a lot of advertising. Anyway, Fortune. So from $500 to $5,000, millennials are watching their monthly student loan payments skyrocket under Trump and panicking on TikTok. Right. Yeah. So here it says millions of college grads are facing nightmarishly monthly student loan repayment jumps due to Donald Trump's changes to income-driven repayment plans. Yeah. So put here, they have. Millions of Gen Z and millennial postgrads are facing towering monthly student loan repayments due to Donald Trump's changes to income-driven repayment plans. If you're one of the 42 million borrowers with federal student loan debt, now is a good time to check your payment portal, it says. Yeah, many borrowers are facing nightmarish monthly payment jumps due to changes to income-driven federal student loan repayment programs, and it is likely to leave many Gen Zers and millennials defaulting on their loans. One person says, my payment is going to quadruple. Ali Ruka shared in her viral TikTok video her student loan repayment for her public health degree is expected to increase from $250 a month to $900. Last month, a federal judge blocked the Biden administration era SAVE plan. So remember, Biden was helping to relieve people's repayments. An income-driven student loan replacement program with 8 billion borrowers claiming it lacked the authority to forgive millions of dollars in debt. These people are evil. In response, the Trump administration paused all applications for income-driven repayment plans and online loan consolidation, leaving some borrowers in limbo, struggling to make ends meet. And then what one person says here, what Trump is doing on student loans is literally going to crash the economy, Rooker said. Another TikToker took to the platform to describe her husband's dramatic 10-time payment increase from $500 per month to close to $5,000 per month. Like, what the it's just astonishing. All right, I need to do Oh, thank you. Sharon Saipi saved it. Thank you, Sharon. So Sharon says, look, my deep dive video into the future of Social Security. So yeah, that's in the video description. Yeah, that is when what I've done is I've cast the chart for Social Security. I also given the quote as well of Roosevelt, why it was created, the time it was passed into law, and I've shown where the planetary alignments are for that chart and what that means for the future of Social Security. In fact, a lot of what I predicted has come true already. What's this? Let's see here. Patty M said, if the government closed, so would the courts, which means Cheeto could have done anything he wanted while the courts closed and no one to stop him. Fear mongering going on with the legacy media. Well, there is an element of that, but when I actually looked, if they were to close the government, apparently the federal courts can keep going for a couple of months, and there is a lot of stuff that actually doesn't. I mean, I think the national parks close. Some people are kept on, aren't necessarily paid, but from what I was looking, because I was looking at this, and also as well, state courts and all of that stuff still run, etc. So there is an argument for that. However, we are in extraordinary times, and that's why I shared that video of Democrat voters, how they feel about what has happened with that resolution basically kind of passing. Oh, look, Sharon says she's put my book up there as well. God, yes, oh, thank you, Sharon. You've put all the links up there, so feel free to have a look, folks. Let's see here. What's it called? Patty M says, total distraction. They're working to get Cheeto to have another term. There was an interview with Chris Cuomo and Bannon. Look it up. Okay, so thanks for sharing that. It's always good to have the different perspectives as well. And let's see, just scrolling down. Oh, Tartan Spicer said, I hear Boston is getting closed. I knew something was off because my documents needed to be sent to an office I know too well in Everett, Massachusetts. I worked in that building as a temp for a financial firm. Yeah. So they're doing, they're doing their stuff. Oh, here we go. And Kenji says, call Republicans in the House and Senate. I called Lisa I don't know how to say that. Whiskey, I think. She's finally standing up. I'm glad I called with the others. I'm 75. I'll get kicked to the curb if I can't pay my rent and bills. Indeed. So good for you. One of the things I wanted to say as well, it may not sound like the most practical kind of thing, but honestly, Americans, if you can, come together and buy land. Yeah, you did hear me correctly. Come together and buy land. Why am I saying that? As we know, the red states, the majority of them voted to deport their workers. Yeah. So if we think of those farm states, so Nebraska, yeah, Nebraska admitted that they're going to go bankrupt in about 6 months. Why? Because they deported all of their migrant workers. Yeah. Not such a smart idea. What I think the plan is for the corporations to come in and snap up that land on pennies on the dollar. But let's say, for example, you're a Democrat and you didn't vote for this, or maybe even you're a conservative and you didn't vote for this and what have you. But even though it sounds really radical, it's something that I strongly recommend. Yeah. Buy land, pull resources together. A lot of land is going to start to become available in America because obviously a lot of these family farms are going to go out of business because they voted to deport their employees. They're already crashing already. But look what they're doing in terms of SNAP. They're cutting that. People are going to need food. Yeah, access to food. What's this? Joanne Frank, if you receive a paper check, you might. Oh, I think that was. Let's see here. CC Sassy said there are a lot of elderly who do not have online access. Maybe towns can offer access to elderly so they can change addresses or direct deposit info. Yeah, I think that's why they're doing it. Yeah. Let's see here. What's this one here? AstroCheck. I work healthcare insurance, but there's a data breach. Insurance to take it seriously, but please explain how that's not serious if Americans' private info. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, there's so much more. Let me answer some of your questions. My goodness. I mean, oh God, look at that. The show's almost gone. You know, I'll go through as quick as I can. So Manuela Orchid has asked, I'm kind of going to deal with them both. So she said, hello, Hergy, because meanwhile in many places things are happening, not just in the USA. My question is, will Erdogan in Turkey be the head of Turkey? His opponent is under arrest. And then the second question would be, if Trump gets consequences because he talks about free speech and on the other hand, sacks people or denies journalistic people who don't agree with his politics. So no free speech at all. Indeed. And look, we know this. Trump is a hypocrite. When he says free speech, he means I need to be able to say whatever I want without any pushback. And anyone that speaks truth to me or anything otherwise, they need to be locked up. Yeah, he's a dictator. So let's just read, which we can all see. Yeah. Oh, God, these planetary alignments, they're so intense. But this is also a time as well of increased spirituality as well. This is, like I said, where a lot of people start waking up. It's not the nicest wake up, is it? My gosh. All right, Erdogan. Let's see what's going on with Erdogan. And then let's pull some cards. I'll pull 3 cards for Erdogan. There's questions about Elon's assets. Let's see what Erdogan. All right, this is quite straightforward, actually. So here we are. King of Swords, Erdogan. Yeah. So this is the King of Swords can deal with someone who's intelligent, sharp, and astute. But the shadow of this card can also be a man that is cruel. Yeah, cruel and unfeeling. Yeah, so I think there's certainly an element there. If we look here in the middle card, we get the Ace of Wands, which of course is a yes card. This is a card of initiating new things, growth, etc., and stuff like that. It was about the election, so it looks like that's quite a positive card for Erdogan. And then if we look here, we get the Queen of Pentacles, which I often associate when I'm doing political readings with the electorate. So the voter. I'm going to say it's very like, I'll be surprised if he is not re-elected. Yeah, because he'll probably use force anyway of some kind. But maybe there's still a lot of the electorate that is under his thrall, or maybe they don't see someone else as strong, or maybe he'll just massage things, cheat a little bit. But from that, I'm going to say it's likely that Erdogan will win. If he doesn't win, I'll happily be wrong on that one. Yeah, I'll happily be wrong on that one. But looking at those cards, he's gonna, strong arm it. Let's see here. Elon's assets. What's question number 2? Oh, all right. So Nick Minks asks, what has Russia been promised in return for a ceasefire? She's put here, she spelled out shitloads, but she's talking about Duck Larange. So what has Russia been promised in return for a ceasefire, and has Duck Larange discussed taking land with Putinska? Yeah. And then she was asking about Netanyahu. Is Netanyahu annihilating the Gazans to progress Duck Larange aim to own the West Bank? And did they deliberately allow Gazans to return so they could massacre more of them? Let's have a read on that one, because I've not read on Gaza in a while. And we've all, I'm sure many of you have seen the AI of Trump Gaza. Yeah. Where in it you see the bearded belly dancers, and Gaza turned into this kind of Dubai on sea come Las Vegas casino type thing. And, him and Netanyahu on a deck chair. So Netanyahu definitely supports it. Let's just see what's going on with Netanyahu and the Gazans. Have they just brought them back so they can destroy even more lives? Oh, God, the world that we're in. Like I said, all this undiluted douchebaggery. But it's Pluto in Capricorn energy, folks. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but for those that are new, Pluto is in Capricorn, not Aquarius. This isn't Aquarian energy. The shadow of Capricorn is authoritarianism. Yeah. So I said we're back in the time of the 1930s. Yeah. Fascism, stuff like that. Corporate oligarchy interfering in government. Yeah, we can all see it now. Let's see here. Oh, God. Oh, dear. Oh, not good news for the Palestinians, unfortunately. We look here. Yeah, we get the high priestess. Now, we know if we're talking about ordinary people, this means someone going more into their spirituality, wisdom, knowledge, intuition. But when we're talking about politics, you know that this is my card for subterfuge, espionage, secret schemes and plans. Yeah, so obviously he's got his not so secret plan with Duck L'Orange. The AI gave it away. Remember, Trump always confesses to his crimes. Always. He even admitted in the Oval Office that, he got people to rig it and was like happy because he was going to get to see the World Cup and the Olympics. Yeah. And it was, that should have just totally crashed the internet. But yeah, only independent people spoke about it. That was shared with me by Sheila, who got off TikTok, Yeah, corporate buyout. Anyway, secret plans. If we look here, in the obstacle position, we actually get the Sun card. But if the first card is positive, then the second one can be reinforcing. It can be ambiguous, with the High Priestess. But this can literally talk about sunshine. So I think really what this card, the Sun card, is revealing is the plan. This is the plan, which is all about sunshine, condos, all of this stuff, with the Palestinian just shoved off to one side or bombed again or whatever, or hoovered up, whatever horrible plan they have. But look, their plan is sunning themselves, on those deck chairs. If we think of the AI video, that has revealed the intentions, and the sun, it's becoming clear, And just in case we weren't sure, look at the middle card, Seven of Swords, theft. This is about theft. They're just going to come in and just basically take what they want. We see here, look at this, the Seven of Pentacles, which I refer to this card as the card of ROI, which means what? Return on investment. They want to turn it into a sunshine Riviera, like you said, Riviera of the Middle East, by stealing the land from the Palestinians. And they hope to make a big return on their investment and get everyone else in on it. And then the outcome card, look, it's the Smug Merchant. The Smug Merchant, the wish fulfillment card. It looks like it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but they get their wish. What else can I say? I have to read the cards. It's just like, wow, that's the world that we're in. Jesus. What has Russia been promised in return? I'll pull 3 cards. And then there's one about ascension, which I think is, oh, look at that. You look what fell out. Just so you can see, you're shuffling. Look what fell out. Oh, no, that went wrong. I shouldn't have done that. There. Can you see it? Look. The High Priestess is back. Let me put this here. Just so you can see. Sorry. Gravity was against me. High Priestess is back. And when I'm reading political, that deals with what? Machinations. So there is a secret plan between Duck L'Orange and Putin. Yeah. Let's see what the other 2 cards say. What have they been promised? Oh, my God. Oh, you see how spirit comes through, though. Let's see what's going on. Let's pull another card. Let's see. What are the secret? Oh, of course. Let me pull a clarifier. So as we saw, the High Priestess fell out. So secret plans, machinations, all of that stuff, as I explained with the Trump Netanyahu. This time, this is Trump Putinshka. Yeah. Here in the middle, this is about, we've got the, and that was the High Priestess. We've got here the Page of Wands, which is also what the orator. It deals with speech. Making proclamations. Wands, of course, as you know, also deals with passion and fire, but as you know, I refer to this card as the card of entrepreneurship. So this, in many ways, this is Trump has also agreed to advocate, to speak for Putinshka. Yeah. Here we've got the knight. Yeah, the knight in the night of romance, the night of seduction, the night that can also be unfaithful. Yeah. So this is to smooth the way. Yeah, I understand. I think there is a temporary ceasefire. Is that correct? I've just struggled to keep up. There's so much happening. But this is to smooth things, to smooge. This can also be a card of diplomacy and stuff like that. So this temporary ceasefire, for however long it lasts, is to kind of like try and make the situation look better than it is. But really, look at this. When I pulled the clarifier, Ace of Pentacles, it's about the money. Yeah. What this says to me is they have a deal. Wouldn't surprise me, again, for entertainment purposes only. But I think there is a secret deal between Duck L'Orange and Putinshka. Yeah. They're putting a different lip service, but it is about the minerals in Ukraine. Bet you any money that's how I see it. It's about the minerals in Ukraine. Wow. So it would be like, that's why he's upset, because he's like, no, we're gonna, as part of this peace deal, you hand over the minerals, but then they would also cut another deal with Russia. Oh my God. All right, let's do one more. Oh, there was a question about citizens entering the US. So German citizens have been held. Do you see where more Western? So basically, what is that about? Trump obviously doesn't like the EU and he wants to undermine NATO. So he's giving EU people more difficulty when coming into the country. I don't even need to pull cards on that. That's what that is about. And then here, Guy de Bousseth said, are we perpetuating the darkness that has come over the world by giving into the fear instead of having faith in the universe? Also, what is the karma for this mess? Thanks, Hogarth. Now, that is a good point. That is a valid point. And I can understand arguments about that. And it's important, of course, not to go into fear too much, of course. But we also have to recognize the real world and what is actually happening. Yeah, that's why I shared those articles, so you can see it's not hyperbole. It's not exaggeration. This is happening. This big alignment on the 29th of March happening not this Saturday coming, the Saturday after. It is a big deal because, and the reason why I'm talking about it is because it's going to change so many people's lives. Not just in America, the whole world global order, which we see transforming. However, yes, positivity is important as well. We can't give in to despair. But one of the ways of not giving in to despair is to take action. And this is why I'm urging people, protest, protest, protest. We are actually seeing quite a few protests across the country. And guess what? Corporate media is not showing them so much. They show a little bit here, a little bit there. You have to actually go on social media to see more. So let that give you encouragement. Also as well, the power of boycotting. Yeah, we can see what is happening with Elon Musk's Tesla stock. May it crash and burn. For entertainment purposes only. But it's, you know, this is where people can express their power under this onslaught. So let's look at this. Let's look at this. Let's look at this in terms of positivity, not perpetuating the darkness. What's the thing? What's the collective consciousness right now? Let's just read. Get Spirit to tell us about the collective consciousness right now. And there are always times of turmoil when we have big cycles end and new cycles begin. And in many ways, that's where we are. This is what this great alignment is talking about history-making times on planet Earth. It really is. Let's have a look. There is a way forward, but it's going to take time. So if we look here, look. They are literally trying to kill off an old way of life. I can't put, like, this card for me is more final than the death card. The death card talks about transformation, a transformation that cannot be avoided. This literally talks about trying to put someone to bed or end something or end a career or literally just unalive someone. Yeah, as you know, this is how I interpret this card. Yeah, so a lot of people's livelihoods are being threatened at the moment by the powers that be, and of course, quite rightly, people are worried about that. But you know, I have to say what I see. Yeah, here, what's in the obstacle position? We've got the Hierophant, which is called of what? It deals with government, but it's not just that, it's ideology. A lot of this as well can be interpreted as what? Project 2025, where Elon has kind of put rocket boosters on it, yeah, did even more than they were expecting. What's the prevailing feeling at the moment? Look, heartache. People are feeling so upset. This is also the card of disappointment and betrayal. People feel they've been stabbed in the heart, especially with what's happened in light of Schumer and all of that kind of stuff. I know many of you are Democrats, but, you know, that's why I played that clip so you guys could see. Yeah, you guys could see how a lot of Democrats are feeling, and people are feeling betrayed. Yeah, but if we look here, the next two cards, yeah, it's the Lovers and it's the Ace of Wands. Everything. Now, remember too how I associate this card with the economy. Yeah, imports and exports. You've heard me say this many times before. This also deals with trade. Yeah, agreements of all kinds. It's not just marriage. It's also, for me, it's business. But it's also about choices, yeah? By making positive choices, yeah? The Ace of Wands is back. This is about taking affirmative action. So this is about protest, yeah? Americans need to keep protesting en masse out in the streets, peacefully, of course. I'm not going to preach violence, but we need to see more, as if your life depends on it, because it does. Yeah, it's all about the choices, yeah, the financial choices that we're making. Obviously, a lot of Americans don't have 2 cents to rub together by the end of the week. I'm not saying, and you know, I know it's difficult, it is. But those financial choices, like boycotting products, boycotting Tesla, etc., it is making a difference. And that's where a lot of the power is. So my advice is protest, buy land if you can, pull your full funds together. I'm going to have to do some kind of group chat or something like about that at some point. And, you know, because look at this, fertile new beginnings, yeah, planting things. Do you notice here that there's growth here on that? So this can also talk about planting new fertile ideas, but this is also a card of action. So I would say before I go, guys, we are in historic times, You can see what they're doing with all of their undiluted douchebaggery. And the most things are important is to fight. Let's see here. Patty M saying the courts are stopping the executive orders, at least slowing what he thought would be easy to implement. Yes, but he is breaking the law. Yeah, we have a lawless, it's a lawless administration regime. Someone's saying AP leans left, and yes, started my first job at 14, paid in for 50 years. The worst is Medicaid. Those living in nursing homes depend on this to pay rent. Yes, up to 60%. Yeah, let me scroll down. Someone's saying here, no more rule of law. Let's just see. Doge high. Oh, what's this? Denise Ferguson saying Doge hired Adam Hoffman, former assistant to billionaire Ken Griffin, to help cut costs across U.S. national security. Hoffman has no government experience, no security experience, and no security clearance. Look, yeah, These people are just, it's just shambolic, isn't it? It's just absolutely outrageous. So many comments here. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it there, I think. So yeah, someone's saying a lot of theft. Yeah, and then scammers will have a field day. Even one of Trump's what's his name? Trump's former lawyer, what was he called? Had his thing when they were releasing the JFK files. Trump's former lawyer and aide called Joseph DeGenova told the Washington Post he was that the security leak of his social security and other people's personal details was outrageous, and called it amateur hour and stuff like that. And then someone had no digital currency tracking you. Yeah, they're gonna try. And then just see here, someone says, I'm pissed because I don't clear 30,000 a year. Why doesn't Elon's Goonies go after middle class? Well, it's all just to demoralize people, isn't it? And then US can't stop our phones being hacked, let alone digital money. Indeed, you know, so many different things. And then someone's saying it's like the movie Blade Runner. It's just, but remember what I was saying at the end. So let's end on a positive note. Protest, yeah, peaceful protest. Keep harassing all of your leaders, senators, blah, blah, blah. Harangue, 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 harangue. And boycott, 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 boycott. That is, if anything, that is probably going to make the biggest effect, because if you bankrupt these billionaires, they lose a lot of their power. Yeah, they lose a lot of their power. I will leave it there. Otherwise, this show will drag on forever. So thank you so much to everyone. Please don't forget as well to like and subscribe and share. The deep dive into Social Security is in the video descriptions, but please watch it as well on Hogarth's Financial Astrology. More updates to come there. I'm going to leave it there for now. You'll see me, of course, next on Hogalish. Big love. Mwah! Bye-bye for now.